Hello and welcome to the Blu-Review. Today we are talking about Crimson Tide from Buena Vista Home Entertainment. In the late 90s, mid to late 90s, there were all these movies that were coming out. Con Air, The Rock, Armageddon, any movie Michael Bay has ever made that owes their entire existence to Tony Scott. He was doing those movies in the 80s, and the style and the color palette, everything is exactly the same. And while they were doing that, Tony Scott moved on to do an intense thriller on board a nuclear submarine. And in fact, some movies really hadn't been this popular in the since like the late 50s and early part of the 60s, when you had movies like Run Silent, Run Deep, and there were a whole slew of these sub-movies. Well, that came regenerated and came back about in the mid to early 90s. And Tony Scott did one with Crimson Tide. Now this is, his return to the Navy, that had sort of made his career in a way with Top Gun, and made Tom Cruise sort of as a star at that point as well. So Crimson Tide is basically the story about this like Russian dude is like pissing off the U.S. and keeps threatening that he's going to blow up the U.S. and he's going to release his nuclear arsenal. So they call on Gene Hackman, who is like the captain of this nuclear sub, to go over there and basically kick his ass if he tries to start something. So he gets ready to go, but his second in command has appendicitis attack, and so they have to bring in like the best in the Navy, which is Denzel Washington. So they're kind of getting along, although Gene Hackman's character is kind of a an asshole, and they get on board and everything's going fine. But there's like this tension between the two of them in terms of who's going to do right and who's going to do wrong. And then they get this code that says, yes, launch the nukes, blow the fuck out of the Russians. So they get ready to do it, and then they get attacked by this this Russian sub. And so while they're trying to evade that, they get another message, but they don't get it all. And so Denzel Washington is like, hey, we can't blow the fuck out of these people until we know for sure that they want us to do that. And Gene Hackman is like, hey, the regulations say if we don't know, we blow the fuck out of them. And Denzel Washington is like, and he keeps stressing the nuclear holocaust. I stressed that like 2 or 3 times in the movie. It's not just nuclear war, it's nuclear holocaust. And that's what he believes is going to get set off. So he wants to find out what this is. And then it's like a constant battle between who's going to be in charge and who's going to make the decision. It's just kind of a really intense thriller. That you know what's going to happen at the end, you know who's going to be right before you even start the movie, but overall I thought it was pretty decent. It's a good movie, and you guys should all check it out. As far as the picture quality on this one is concerned, I thought it was decent. It was one of these movies where it would sort of go off and on. One time you would say like, oh yeah, I'm watching a high def movie, and another time you really didn't notice it at all because there really wasn't anything there. 95% of this movie takes place in a submarine. So it's just a lot of detail and close-ups and textures on people's clothes and stuff. But overall, I thought it was about a 4-star. There wasn't any scene in it really, or a sequence or shot where I really was like, oh my god, that's horrible. But there wasn't a lot where I was just like, oh yeah, this is the best. Colors are really replicated well. Of course, it's a Tony Scott movie, so everything takes place, either at sunset or sundown. And everything is either orange or green and occasionally blue. And that really lends well to high definition and really shows off Tony Scott's style that you may have not noticed before, as the colors weren't so strong in the standard def. The audio was pretty decent, so overall I'd recommend you check out Crimson Tide. That's it. Peace.